Right, we start off in Ethiopia. The country is set to reopen bidding for its second telecoms operator license this month, including the right to operate mobile financial services. Now, this comes after the sale of the first full-service license in May. Ethiopia has a wide potential market with a population of over 100 million. The government is reopening the bid after it awarded Kenya Safaricom with the first license, citing a lower-than-expected price for failing to award the second one. Now, under the deal, the International Finance Corporation will serve as the transaction advisor. The government is expecting prospective bidders to include firms which, of course, had expressed interest in the previous attempt to sell that license, but whose bids were deemed to be insufficient. Well, let's get the latest on this from ground. Dr. Eyob, State Minister for the Ministry of Finance, joins us now in Ethiopia. Great to have you with us today on the show, sir. Now, what we know so far is that this new round of bidding will have a lower than expected price, and also it'll have the right to operate mobile financial services. So what are your expectations for this new round in terms of prospective bidders we could see, such as MTN, which missed out on the last one, and of course the benchmarks put in place this time around?
Thank you so much. As you've rightly indicated, Ethiopia is a big market, more than 100 million people. And in fact, we describe this as the last frontier for the telecom sector. What happened last May is a culmination of what we've been doing over the last 2 years, trying to build a world-class telecom industry, opening up the sector for competition, and also reforming the incumbent Ethiopia Telecom. As you indicated, during the May bid, we had a very strong showing, but we only offered one of the licenses because we felt the second one fell short of our expectation. But this time around, we are reissuing the bid when the council decided in May to only offer one license. There is also a second decision, a decision to immediately commence on the second process, on the bidding process. This time around, we've also made some adjustment where there are some policy changes. For instance, mobile financial services would be included. In the previous bid, we have not included. To do that, we now need to make some legal adjustment. As it stands now, the Ethiopian law, the National Bank cannot allow a foreign operator to operate in mobile services, but now once that law changes, which is in the process of changing, we should be able to offer a new one. So what we expect is a very strong interest from bidders. ECA, the Ethiopian Competition Authority, is in the process of preparing the RFP, working with the IFC, as you have indicated. And we hope to publish this sometime this month. And we expect a strong showing. In fact, I don't know if I mishear you, but we expect actually a much better showing than the second license that we've cancelled in this bid, because we have included a number of incentives, including the mobile finances.
Well, just to clarify, with the inclusion of that mobile money license in this bid, is Ethiopia now considering plans to review a mobile money license to the first consortium, which of course includes Safaricom, which runs one of the most successful payment services in Africa, M-Pesa? Are we going to see a change there?
Absolutely. As you said, Safaricom-backed global consortium that includes big operators around the world, including Vodacom, Vodafone, and financiers from Japan, the US, have won this bid. So what we will do is, because of this new opening in the policy, the Safaricom-backed consortium would be able to be offered the opportunity to buy a license to operate mobile financial services.
Right. Well, there's also a lot of interest in the state-owned telecom firm, Ethiotel. In June, we know you launched a tendering process for the proposed sell-off of about 40% of the company. Give us some insight into the kind of interest you've seen from that side so far and the prospective investors the country is looking at.
When we've embarked on this reform, we've done this simultaneously while opening up the sector for competition through liberalization. We've also commenced on the process of privatizing Ethiopia Telecom, partial privatization, as you said, a 40% stake. So already during that licensing process, there were global operators that have indicated their interest more into the privatization than a greenfield. So that we know there are few operators that are still waiting for this opportunity to open up. So what we are doing currently is we have published expression of interest, and we've seen that a number of global operators are interested in this process. Now the advisory firm and our team are working on the RFP, RFQ to be published soon, and we hope to see a very strong interest in the privatization of Ethiopia Telecom. We are offering 40% of the stake. This is a very strong incumbent operator that has been in operation for 125 years. But following Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's coming to power, this firm, Ethiopia Telecom, has seen momentous reform. It's a completely new company, launched new services, is gaining a big market share. So we know there will be strong interest in this company stake, and we expect this to be concluded in the next few months as well.
Well, on that note, let's talk about Ethiopia Telecom's mobile money services. We know it launched Telebir, which was the country's first mobile financial services in May. So far, the service has been reported to have attracted about 4 million users within weeks in the country. So give us a sense, what progress is the service making to date? And why the decision to now open up those rights to operate mobile financial services in this second bid, with Ethiopia Telecom clearly doing so well in the sector?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the strong showings of Ethiopia Telecom. It's not only on mobile banking, mobile services, but I think in terms of service expansion, they have launched 4G services in many cities over the last few months. Their financial showing is very, very strong. We have a very competent management, and we're really pleased with the pace of the reform of Ethiopia Telecom. Now, on mobile banking, it's actually astounding. I don't have the stats with me, but I'm not sure there is a comp that you can point to that managed to attract millions in just a matter of days and weeks. Very phenomenal achievement. So this shows you that the Ethiopian market has huge opportunity. So we're very pleased with that performance. But to your second question, as I've indicated earlier on, we have serious legal limitations in opening up sector for foreign operators, because as it stands now, our law only allows banking services, including mobile banking, financial services, only to domestic operators. But the council last May has decided to also make some amendments in the law. So that is what opened up the opportunity for Safaricom backed consortium for the new license that we are issuing shortly.
Well, a lot going on in the telecom sector. We'll certainly be watching that closely. But let's shift focus slightly and take a look at what's happening in the overall economy. Can you give us an update on the country's economic recovery since the pandemic hit, including those plans to restructure billions of debt as the government seeks to free up funds now to support its economic recovery?
Well, I mean, an interesting question, because we've just concluded the Ethiopian fiscal year. As you know, our fiscal year goes July to June, and the numbers are astounding. I mean, given the difficult year we've had with the COVID and with some challenge in the northern part of Ethiopia, the resilience the Ethiopian economy has showed, and some of the key indicators are very, very encouraging. Let me give you a couple of points. For instance, if you look at our tax performance, we've managed to achieve 20% growth compared to last year. Exports have shown significant performance. 15-17% growth in few months, but at least at the end of the year, about 12% growth. The financial sector showed strong performance overall, with credits going to the private sector, about 75% credit growth to the private sector. Savings, significant increase. I can go on. I know you probably don't have time, but what this showed is the reforms that Prime Minister Abiy has ushered in, in the economic front, has paid off, because we've managed to introduce significant economic reforms over the last 2 years. This economy has managed to wither, to stand during these difficult times. In fact, perform much, much better than our peers in the region and elsewhere. So very, very good performance. And looking forward, we expect the economic growth to continue. The projection we have from Ministry of Planning is about 8.5% growth next year. So we expect robust growth. As you know, we've launched our 10 years economic reform prosperity plan, as we call it, a 10-year plan. And this is the first year where we start that plan implementation. But coming to the second leg of your question, as part of that reform, we wanted to make sure that we have sound macroeconomic fundamentals. As part of that, we have made significant macro reforms, including on debt. And as we have initiated a homegrown economic reform program, this reform was supported by the IMF. And as part of that discussion, we have had a number of discussions with our creditors. Where we are now is we are having serious conversations through the G20 common framework, as you know. In fact, we are expecting the creditor committee to be established sometime this month, and we expect significant amount of development finance released through the tree profiling. And this would really give us strong backing for our reform programs and the financial muscle to embark on other sectoral reforms. So overall on debt issue, I think because of good export performance, generally, just for you to understand, Ethiopia's problem is largely on debt service to export ratio. In terms of debt to GDP, we still can even borrow more. But because we have strong export performance now, and we are working on debt treatment, right, we hope we'll be able to achieve a medium level debt distress shortly, and this will give us more room to borrow and invest in the Ethiopian economy.
Well, we do have to leave it there, Dr. Tolina, but thank you so much for those great insights.